now. Feel the hatred of 10,000 years. You are not prepared.
Illidan Stormrage was always destined for greatness. Born with the golden eyes that the Kaldorei believed were a sign of strong potential, much was expected of him from a young age. Like his twin brother, Malfurion Stormrage, he attempted to study the arts of the Druid from the demigod Cenarius, but found he did not have the aptitude for it. Curious, as later it would be discovered that his golden eyes actually spoke of a strong druidic potential. Instead, Illidan turned to the magic of the Highborn, the magic of the Well of Eternity. Illidan was welcomed into the Highborn ranks, serving as the personal spellcaster of Lord Kurtalis Ravencrest. When the demons began to pour through the portal in Zinashari, Illidan was convinced by Malfurion and their childhood friend, Tyrande Whisperwind, to leave the Highborn and join the Night Elves fighting back against the demons. He defeated the Doomguard Azzinoth and took up the demons' warglaves, and in the altered timeline he trained with the Kirin Tor mage Ronan, who was sent back in time through a temporal anomaly. The reasons for Illidan's eventual betrayal of the Defenders of Azeroth differ between the two timelines. In the original timeline, Illidan became distressed when he learned of Malfurion's plan to destroy the Well of Eternity and seal the portal through which the Burning Legion was entering Azeroth. The Well of Eternity was the source of his magic, the source of his power and immortality.
Hey, what's up, guys? Def Cat Meltdown, y'all still awake? I got the house to myself tonight, so I was gonna do just like a cool stream. I kind of want to learn about Warcraft lore, you know. So I found this guy's channel. He makes really good videos. This one's about Illidan, though. I was gonna change it though. Hold on. Let's watch this one. Let's watch this one. Welcome, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm just gonna try and learn about lore tonight in a little bit. Hang out with you guys. If you have any questions about Classic or about the channel or anything, man, just fire away. Hey, username, what's up, dude? Like the stream? Yeah, you know what? Let me just chill for a little bit. I won't play anything. I just want to say hi to you guys for a minute.
Fleeing to the last remaining stronghold of Darkshire.
Here's all you need to know. Blame Night Elves for everything? I'll keep that in mind, man.
The Scythe of Elune was an artifact created from the Fang of Goldrin and the Staff of Elune. It was created in an attempt to subdue the fury that came with the Druid's pack form, the form of the wolf. The scythe backfired, however, and turned those druids who used it into what are now known as the Worgen. Malfurion, seeing the threat posed by the Ragefield Worgen, banished them to the Emerald Dream. The Scythe of Elune retained the power to summon the Worgen back from the dream, and was hidden away with its keeper, Melthandris. Elune herself later uncovered the scythe, and gifted it to the Night Elf.
Wait, what did he say? He said that that's the Worgen is the druid pack form? Never heard that before. 2 streams in one day. It's not my birthday yet. Hey, man. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot planned for this stream username. I was gonna hang out and, you know, do this anyway, so I thought I might as well stream it.
The Scythe of Elune was an artifact created from the Fang of Goldrin and the Staff of Elune. It was created in an attempt to subdue the fury that came with the Druid's pack form, the form of the wolf.
The Scythe of Elune was created to subdue the Druid pack form was the... That's crazy. Mans, what's up, dude? Hey, $20 from Mans, dude? Yo, thanks so much, man. Yo, I haven't talked to you in forever, man. I really appreciate that, man. Night. Boys night, hell yeah. I got the house to myself, boys. I thought I'd learn, you know, what better to do when you get the house to yourself than, you know, learn about some Warcraft lore. So.
The scythe backfired, however, and turned those druids who used it into what are now known as the Worgen.
That's crazy. So, okay. So the druids have a pack form, which is to be a wolf, and this scythe backfired and turned them into Worgens. So Worgens are druids.
Furion,
wow.
Seeing the threat posed by the Ragefield Worgen, banished them to the Emerald Dream. The Scythe of Elune.
Yeah, dude, man, it's good to see you, man.
Back from the dream, and was hidden
hey, Mankster, I can't play any private servers, man. I'm gonna get striked, man. I'm just gonna learn about some lore tonight.
And gifted it to the Night Elf Valinde Starsong to help her in cleansing the corrupted Fell Wood. In her battles with the demons, Valinde summoned a pack of worgen and quickly learned the difficulty in controlling the transformed druids. Learning of another individual, Arugel, who had learned to summon the worgen without the use of the scythe, Valinde traveled to the eastern kingdoms and began her journey north. In the forest that would later be known as Dusk Wood, however, Valinde was ambushed and killed by worgen seeking to use the scythe for their own purposes. The fight took place in a cave now known as Roland's Doom.
I remember that place.
Triggered by the attack, the scythe was lost to time. It was a young human, a Defias operative working in Dusk Wood, that would later come across the scythe. Jitters found the scythe within Roland's Doom.
Jitters,
He freed
okay.
the scythe and inadvertently summoned a pack of worgen to Dusk Wood. In his flight, he left the scythe in the hands of the...
You're telling me that that guy Jitters, that Duskwood NPC, discovered the scythe that turned all these druids into worgen? Alright, that's pretty crazy, man. I didn't know he played
who began
such a big
using
role.
it to summon more of their kind to the Darkening Woods. This was but one of Dusk Wood's mounting problems. To the west, in a cemetery of Raven Hill, where those who have fallen to the recent wars...
Manx, so you're saying, yeah, pack form is now forbidden by the druid orders? I'm a bit sad about it. So what is it? Pack form? What is it, like their bloodlust form for druids or something? Dude, I never knew Jitters did such a big thing. Like he discovered some huge magical artifact.
Fell, took up residence and began summoning a legion of undead.
Oh, Morbid Fell. That's the guy you kill in the little house, right?
The necromancer resurfaced as a lich and continues to harass much of Dusk Wood.
Yeah, I remember that
with
quest.
undead minions.
I remember that quest.
Morbid Fell has also allied himself with the nefarious Dark Riders of Deadwind Pass.
Just did a video on that.
Riders are steeped in mystery, serving an unknown master with an unknown will. What is known, however, is the Dark Riders were fervently searching for the scythe and scouring Dusk Wood for any sign of the artifact. At the forest center lies one of the 4 portals linking the Emerald Dream to Azeroth, and until the recent cleansing of the Nightmare, the area was guarded by one of Ysera's corrupted lieutenants, green dragons who fell to the encroaching night.
Yeah, the world boss area.
Recently, an adventurer ventures into the perpetual dusk and arrives at Darkshire to offer to help the hopeless hamlet. The adventurer is sent up to the abandoned watchtower of Beggar's Haunt, and finds the old hermit Abercrombie there.
Love this quest.
Abercrombie enlists
Love
the
this quest.
adventurer's aid in a seemingly benign series of tasks, until, upon returning to Darkshire, with a note from Abercrombie for the mayor, the adventurer finds the town ablaze and under attack by Abercrombie and his new creation, Stitches. Abercrombie, it is revealed, is another necromancer that had been drawn...
I love this quest. This is one of my favorite quests in all of
During the
Classic.
adventurer's travels, they are stopped by a young man in search of his brother.
The
Tobias
Mistmantle, yeah. Gotta kill
concerned about
Stalvan.
his brother's sudden lack of communication, had traveled to Duskwood in search of answers, but is met with silence and fear at the mention of his brother's name. The adventurer, with the reluctant help of the town's clerk, pieces together parts of Stalvan Mistmantle's diary, learning of Stalvan's unrequited love for a young woman already arranged to marry another. In his anger, Stalvan butchered the girl and her future groom, and perhaps many more, and retreated to his home outside of Darkshire, where he eventually succumbed to his hatred and became undead. The townspeople now refuse to speak of the event, calling it only the massacre. Tobias is able to confront his brother, who attempts to kill him. During the struggle, Tobias reveals that he is, in fact, a worgen. After laying Stalvan to rest, Tobias informs the adventurer that he arrived with other worgen who traveled to
Yo,
Duskwood
this
with the
this
hope of returning
is this
to
still part of the
Dark
Classic storyline? That's not how it goes in Classic, right? I mean, you just kill Stalvan, right, at the end of the quest chain?
worgen to sanity. The adventurer meets up with them and learns of a worgen who has exhibited signs of control, and heads out to track down the worgen. With the wild worgen trapped and brought to the camp at Raven's Hill, and a potion administered, the worgen comes to his senses and reveals himself to be Sven Jorgen. Sven immediately recognizes Jitters, one of the men helping the worgen at Raven's Hill, and jumps him. He blames Jitters for summoning the worgen to Duskwood.
Yeah, I'll increase the volume, yeah.
In their search for
Was
the
this
Stalvan
Classic
King,
lore? That's not how it played out in Classic, right? I mean, this is some retail stuff, right? Let me rewind it a little bit.
Duskwood with the hope of
The
returning
worgens
some
getting
wild
executed
worgens.
in a little
The
guillotine and stuff?
adventurer meets up with them and learns of a worgen who has exhibited signs of control, and heads out to track down the worgen. With the wild worgen trapped and brought to the camp at Raven's Hill, and a potion administered, the worgen comes to his senses and reveals himself to be Sven Jorgen. Sven immediately recognizes Jitters, one of the men helping the worgen at Raven's Hill, and jumps him. He blames Jitters for summoning the worgen to Dusk Wood, and for the death of his family. In their search for the Scythe of Elune,
This ain't classic, right? Yeah, Platinum, that's what I thought. I feel like you would know, man.
His family lived, and where Jitters was hiding after his
Oh, that's
encounter
whack,
with the
dude.
Scythe. When the family was unable to provide the Dark Riders with news of the Scythe's location, the Dark Riders slaughtered Sven's wife and kids, leaving them for Sven to find hours later upon his return home. Jitters fled the scene, and later revealed the truth to Sven. Sven was later afflicted with the worgen's curse, and succumbed to its fury. With Sven back to sanity, he reveals that before he became a worgen, he was working on defeating.
All right, I want to back up. I want to learn about classic lore specifically. This is kind of weird to me. I like this guy's videos, but this is going into like this is the one I started watching, guys. I started watching a few minutes of this one. This one looks really good. You guys know Novel, right? Novel is a legend. This is the story of Warcraft. This is the video that made me want to do this stream.
From time to time, I get the question if I have like a video covering the lore start to finish for someone who's completely new to WoW.
Covering the
There's a
lore
big
from
A
start to
character
finish. This is what I'm
and tell the
talking
story
about.
from their point of view, but I figured it could be handy to give you a summarized version of what exactly happened in the history.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about.
As
This
you
is
can
it right here.
imagine, Warcraft has a bunch of lore, so I won't be able to cover all the little details, but I am going to do my best to let you know the global story. In this video, I'll place little links and annotations to videos if you want to go into more details, videos that I've already done over the years, and in the description I'll link my full playlist in chronological order if you want more details. With that out of the way, sit back, relax.
Love his lore.
enjoy the
Me
full
too. I like
story
Novel.
of Warcraft.
This is the full story of Warcraft, right?
The origin of the
This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is like crash course in Warcraft lore, because I don't know that much about lore, but I always wanted to. Oh, I'm kind of having more of an interest now, you know, of trying to understand the story behind the game. When I used to play back in the day, I didn't really understand it that much. But
Warcraft universe is unclear. Some say that it was created by a single entity, while others claim that a catastrophic cosmic explosion sent the infinite world spinning out into the vastness of the great
it's like the
dark.
Big Bang.
What we do know is that out of creation, a race of titans emerged. Their mission
Okay.
was to bring order to the universe, and their leaders are called the Pantheon.
They look like
The
humans.
champion of the Pantheon, Sargeras, battled against the chaos of the universe, imprisoning those who fought against their mission against their order. Over time, Sargeras saw so much evil, saw how the universe was resisting them, that he began to doubt about their mission. If order was the way to go, then
So is Sargeras one of these guys?
why was the universe putting up such a fight? So he tried to talk about his doubt with the rest of the Pantheon, but they couldn't help him. Slowly but surely, the corruption and doubt took hold over Sargeras, transforming him into a fiery, gigantic being of chaos.
He's a badass.
He then left the Pantheon behind, he liberated the evil that he had imprisoned over millennia, and he created the Burning Legion. Their purpose was to work against the Titans, to destroy the order they were trying to create, conquer the universe, and bring chaos. Unaware of Sargeras' mission,
So is this before the old gods? Sorry, you guys are gonna have to help me out here a little bit. These guys existed before the old gods, or the old gods were before them? I see a picture of Big Cthulhu over here, so maybe he's gonna talk about it.
to undo their work, the Titans continued to move from planet to planet, shaping and ordering each of them as they saw fit.
Okay.
Eventually, they reached the planet that we now call Azeroth, and they found that the planet was in pure chaos. The elements were fighting each other, but they weren't fighting willingly. They were enslaved by dark and powerful entities known as the Old Gods, beings who thrive and feed on chaos. The Pantheon and their creations, they battled with the Old Gods and the Elemental Lords. And although the Elemental Lords and Old Gods were extremely powerful, the Titans eventually won. They banished the Elemental Lords to the Elemental Plane, where they were free to fight with each other without causing any harm to the world. They then imprisoned the Old Gods far beneath the world of Azeroth, and after that, they started to shape the land and bring order. They didn't do this just by themselves.
Oh wait. Yo, he's kind of losing me here. So is the Pantheon the highest level? Because then you have old gods, elemental lords. What else did he say?
So they created several
Let's keep
beings
listening.
to help them with this task, and amongst them were the giants, Irvin, and several other creatures. With their mission complete, the Titans called the land Kalimdor, and they left the world behind. Life had a chance to grow and evolve now, and this planet would be the staging area for most of the Warcraft lore.
Okay. Oh
Around
yeah,
10
because this is before the they split apart, right? Hey Ripper, what's up, man? Max is in here, dude. Big Max the Ripper's in here. Maxwell Palmer. This is the guy I played vanilla with back in the day. We're homies since little kids. How you doing, Max? Pantheon was the strongest. Okay, so they're like they're the highest in the pecking order. Okay, I got you.
1,000 years ago, the Highborn were dabbling with magics beyond their understanding.
Pantheons are the big
power
dogs.
was given to them by the Well of
Old dogs are
Eternity,
scum.
and were uncertain if the Titans left this.
Alright, I gotta write this down, dude. I even made a little like slide here because I want to keep track of this stuff. So, Pantheon are the highest in the food chain. Old gods are scum. Elemental lords. Alright, let's go back.
Well behind, or if it just popped up when Azeroth itself was born. Either way, this dabbling with magic drew the attention of Sargeras and the Burning Legion. A great war, known as the War of the Ancients, broke out, in which Night Elves, Tauren,
War of the
Urvan,
Ancients,
Furbolg,
okay.
demigods, dragons, and even time travelers teamed up to take on Sargeras, the Legion, and the Highborn. In the end, the Night Elves' resistance won the battle, but it came with a great cost. The Well of Eternity had to be destroyed, since Sargeras was using this pool of power to bring himself to Azeroth. But by destroying it, the well imploded on itself. This caused the land of Kalimdor to shatter. And
Okay, this is the shattering, right? So this was way before World of Warcraft. Okay, I got you.
create the continents that we know today. The Legion had its first bite of Azeroth though, and it was not defeated. We only managed to push them back. They did figure out that simply attacking Azeroth would result in failure, so a bigger plan was required. This plan began several thousand years ago, with Sargeras finding a planet called Argus. On Argus lived a race known as the Eredar, and they had 3 leaders: Archimonde, Kil'jaeden, and Velen. Sargeras realized that this race was powerful on its own, and he wanted them to join his legion. In a vision, he showed them a glorious future, in which they would have loving subjects, knowledge beyond worlds, and limitless power. Kil'jaeden and Archimonde, they were directly...
So Argus has Velen. I mean, those are all Draenei guys, right? Or is that... They're Draenei and... what is Velen? Prophet Velen. Pretty sure that guy's a Draenei. Yeah, Draenei people. Leader of the Draenei people. Alright, so Argus, where the Draenei's are.
Velen wasn't sure. He meditated on what Sargeras had shown them, and the Narukur, with the help of the Atamal crystal, made contact with Velen. He told Velen to gather his people and get off the planet, since Sargeras was deceiving them, and teaming up with him would mean the end of the universe. Velen did as he was told. He gathered those willing to follow him, and they evacuate the planet in a ship brought by the Naru. Kil'jaeden wasn't happy about this, and he took this betrayal very personal, and he swore that he would find Velen and his people, even if it took him 1,000 years. From that moment on, the chase was on. Velen and his people would settle down on a planet, Kil'jaeden would find them again, and send the Legion after them. Each time Velen would be warned, and each time they would escape the planets before any harm came to them, until the Naru named Kur fell ill and had to make a crash landing on a planet they would name Draenor. Draenor was not an empty planet. There were already several species living there, and amongst them were the orcs. For centuries, the Draenei and orcs lived in relative peace with each other. They occasionally traded goods, but for most of the time they just stayed to themselves. All seemed well for the time, until Kil'jaeden found Velen and his people again. This time he decided that sending the Legion would just give the same results. He didn't know that the Draenei were unable to escape.
So wait, this is still all going on before Classic WoW? Oh, Eredar. Yeah, they're not Draenei, they're Eredar. Okay, that makes sense. Sargeras was a Pantheon member. Yeah, that's apparently right, Max. He was a Pantheon member and he kind of like did his own thing. So this is all happening before Classic WoW, because I'm getting a little bit confused because I see this and it looks like this is the TBC story. Right? Anyway.
So he came up with a plan. Instead of using
before
his
even
legion,
Warcraft 3, okay.
he decided to manipulate and corrupt the orcs and make them do his dirty work. He planted the seed of fear and doubt in their minds, convinced them that the Draenei were evil, and he gave them the tools and power to exterminate the Draenei. The elements of Draenor, the ones who used to work together with the shamans of the orcs, they refused to aid them in the battle against the Draenei, since the Draenei were not really the bad guys. To compensate for this loss, Kil'jaeden gifted the orcs with fell magic, turning them into warlocks. Eventually, the orcs they reached the point where there was only one major battle left to fight. The battle at Shafra. To give them the final boost in power that they required, the Pit Lord Manoroth was sent by Kil'jaeden to offer his blood. This blood did indeed give the orcs incredible powers, but it also made them slaves to the Burning Legion. Most of the orcs didn't know this, of course. They thought it was an honorable gift and they drank it willingly. Now mad with demon blood.
Oh, this is the blood of Manoroth, right? So this made them kind of evil and made them crazy. And some of the orcs didn't drink it, right? And they were the like the Frostwolf clan. Yeah, I'm tracking.
In their veins, they assaulted Shafra City and they slaughtered any man, woman and child that they could find. Kil'jaeden, together with Manoroth, they watched this slaughter and they figured that their mission was complete. That Velen was destroyed, so Kil'jaeden left the orcs to their fate. Unknown to them was that Velen and several of his people, they had actually managed to escape the city before the battle and they were hiding in Zangarmarsh. It grieved Velen deeply to send so many of his people to their deaths, but the
Can I just quickly say though? Let me just quickly say that this is all happening before Classic WoW, right? Classic WoW, the problems, the issues, the quests, and the factions that you're fighting for, all these problems are on a much smaller scale, dude. Like this is some cosmic shit. Like this is like huge entities, titans, and crazy stuff. I kind of like the smaller interplay, if that makes sense. Like just, you know, the Defias Brotherhood and the Furlbogs and Felwood, but it is still interesting, you know.
Assured him that this was for the greater good. That one day all of his suffering would come to an end and that he was needed for a greater purpose. With the Draenei defeated and Kil'jaeden leaving them all behind, the orcs were in a bit of trouble. Most of their land was corrupted and the demon blood caused them to go crazy and turn on each other. Something had to be done quick before they would exterminate themselves, and thankfully for the orcs, Sargeras had need of them. Sargeras in the meantime had managed to infiltrate the body of the Guardian Medivh, and the Guardian was charged with protecting Azeroth against the Legion and any major threats. He made contact with the orcish leader Gul'dan and he told him about Azeroth itself. A planet full of life, water and plenty.
The OG big threat is Onyxia and Rag, who was unleashed by the Dark Iron Dwarfs. That's the thing, right? If you guys know in chat, so Rag wasn't even like a big character, you know, like he was an elemental fire lord or whatever. Like compared to these people they're talking about, he wasn't shit, right? It's kind of funny.
Of enemies to put up resistance to give the orcs a good fight. Remember that Sargeras wants nothing more than to conquer Azeroth, and this plan was a great one. Even if the orcs were defeated, the planet itself would be weakened, and it would be that much easier for the Legion to take. Together with Gul'dan, they created the Dark Portal, and they began the first orcish horde invasion. The real Medivh was still inside his body, and he manipulated events so that when the moment would arrive, people around him would be able to take him out. This happened exactly as he planned it. Sargeras tried to completely take over his body, but they chopped off his head.
Wait, they're talking about Medivh, right? So is this Warcraft 3 now? I love the whole Medivh story. I love how he was like the whole prophecy, right? The whole prophecy with Medivh and that how he was corrupted and Karazhan and everything. I love that story.
Still on its way though, and Stormwind did its very best to hold against the might of the Horde, and they even did a pretty good job for a while until the King of Stormwind was assassinated. The troops were unable to hold the city. Stormwind fell and its citizens evacuated across the sea to the kingdom of Lordaeron, ending the first war and flowing into the second war.
This is the type of lore I like. This is the type of lore I like.
And they followed to Lordaeron after building ships of their own. This gave the humans some time to form an alliance, which in the end mainly consisted of humans, dwarves, high elves and gnomes. They battled for the...
Ooh, he said high elves, so high elves are part of the alliance. It's funny because when you see high elves in Classic, they're kind of neutral, right? Like you see them in, what is that zone? You see them in Hinterlands. You see them a couple places, but they're technically part of the alliance, the high elves.
Fate of Azeroth, and although the Horde managed to take nearly everything, they nearly won the war. Eventually, they were forced to retreat all the way back to Blackrock Mountain, where the final battle took place. Not even there was the Horde able to stand against the Alliance. Some surrendered, some escaped, and some were forced back through the Dark Portal and the Alliance destroyed it. Destroying the Dark Portal did not break its connection though. That connection was now so strong that Draenor and Azeroth would forever be linked with each other. The Alliance realized this, so while they were rebuilding Stormwind, they also built the Netherguard Keep to keep an eye on the portal in case the Horde would ever return. They didn't exactly know what to do with the orcs who surrendered. They couldn't just send them home since the portal was destroyed. They couldn't
Oh,
just
this is the
execute them.
internment camps, right? Yeah, dude. Okay, now this stuff is starting to tie in with classic WoW. I like this because this is Durnhold, right? Wasn't this where Thrall was he was like captured? Yeah, I remember this.
Since that was a little bit barbaric, and allowing the orcs to go into their society was just out of the question. In the end, they decided to put the orcs in internment camps and put them to hard labor. Now the Horde might have failed their initial invasion, but they now knew that there were more planets out there. Perhaps other planets in the universe might not put up so much resistance.
Wait, real quick question. So you were saying that yeah, let me try and turn these subtitles off. That's a good call, Rip. They're kind of trolling. There you go. You're saying that the Frostwolf and the what was the other one you said, Pogren? The Frostwolf and the Doomhammer didn't drink the blood. So the ones that did drink the blood were kind of fell orc-looking guys, and they were evil. And then so the only two orc clans that you're seeing as part of the Horde are the Frostwolf and Doomhammer. Because that's pretty cool.
So the Horde rebuilt their portal, they reconnected it, and they started their second invasion to collect several artifacts and use those to create more portals to different worlds. The Alliance was still together, despite the scars that are always left behind after the war, and because of Netherguard Keep, they now knew about the invasion far before it got out of hand. The Horde managed to collect the artifacts though, they even teamed up with the Black Dragonflights, and they quickly made their way back to Draenor. The Alliance found out what the major...
Oh, the ones who drank it turned green? Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've heard that before, Taylor. Thank you. Everything you're sharing in the chat is like really helpful. It's kind of like putting the pieces together. So, if you make an orc in classic WoW, you're an orc that drank the blood, or your ancestors did. So you can drink the blood and not necessarily be evil. Because you can be green AF in classic WoW. My character's green.
Plan was that they wanted to invade several planets, and they couldn't let the Horde go. They knew what kind of devastation they caused to Azeroth, and they could not allow...
Oh, the ones who drank it twice turned red. Oh, okay. Thank you, Bash. Thank you. So are they like more powerful?
Horde to inflict the same pain to different planets. They followed the Horde through the portal. They tried to stop Ner'zhul, the Orcish leader, from creating more portals, but they didn't reach him in time. The portals were created, and not just one portal to a new planet. All over Draenor, portals popped up, and this caused the planet to become incredibly unstable. In the end...
I love how he says year 8 at the top left. That kind of puts it in perspective. I should be paying attention to that. So orcs are naturally brown, and if you see them as any other color, they basically drank this blood of Manaroth, right? And if you drink it twice, you turn red and you go like crazy. And if you drank it once, you turn green.
The Alliance had to close the Dark Portal from Draenor's side to prevent the explosion from spreading into Azeroth. The Alliance expedition then hid away in one of the open portals as Draenor exploded all around them, transforming itself into the planet we now call Outlands. The people on Azeroth, they assumed that these Alliance heroes were all dead, but they survived and they made sure that the Orcish threat was kept in check. The idea behind the Orcish internment camps was that it would be a humane alternative to execution, but more often than not, they were horrible.
Oh, that's the whole point of Grom Hellscream. He killed Manaroth? Dude, that's badass. Oh, so before Manaroth got killed, the orcs were under like a demonic spell or something, and then once he killed them, even though they were green and they drank it, they were like themselves again, huh? That's what I'm getting from this.
And the orcs were treated miserably. The camp known as Durnhold was led by Aedalis Blackmore, and Blackmore had found a young baby orc he named...
That's Thrall, right? Yeah, dude, I read this book back in the day.
Thrall's parents had refused to drink from the demon blood on Draenor, and they had told Orgrimmar Doomhammer about Gul'dan's betrayal, and for this, Gul'dan's assassins took him out. They left their son to die to the wild, but fate had different plans for Thrall, and he was taken by Blackmore. Blackmore envisioned Thrall leading the captured orcs for him against the Alliance, so he could rule the world, and that's why he had Thrall trained in the arts of combat, but also taught him how to read, tactics, basically turned him into the perfect leader.
Damn, Thrall's a badass motherfucker. So he's an orc, you know, he's got the brute strength of an orc, but he was raised by a human, so
Blackmore was also a nasty drunk, and he mistreated Thrall so much that one day Thrall decided that enough was enough. Together with the help of his friend Serifa, he escaped Durnhold and he found his people who had been able to stay out of the hands of the Alliance. He met with Gromarsh Hellscream of the Warsong clan. He met with Drekvar and the Frostwolf clan, the clan of his parents. He met Orgrim Doomhammer, former war chief of the Horde.
Oh, that's badass. This is the A team of orcs right here then, huh? Wait, but are these guys dead by the time Classic WoW starts? I think Orgrim Doomhammer, he was what they called named Orgrimmar after, right? I think he's dead. This has got to still be like, you know, hundreds of years.
And together they liberated their brothers and sisters from their internment camps. Thrall was even able to take out Blackmore and bring Durnhold to the ground.
He's the Frederick Douglass
of WoW. That not all people were as vile and evil as Blackmore was.
God.
That's why he allowed those who surrendered to step away, and he reformed a horde that caused so much devastation to the land of Azeroth. Only this time it would be
Drekthar, the dude in AV. Oh, nice. Yeah, and he's old, dude. He's old, right? He's like an old ragtag orc. He looks ate up. I love that. So he's probably some like old man orc.
Honorable horde, one not aimed
That's cool. That's so cool.
Domination, but one aimed at trying to forge a peace with the people of Azeroth. One who would try to claim a piece of...
Wait. This may sound retarded, guys, but can orcs... orcs are mortal, right? They die. Like, I think night elves are the only ones that are immortal. This seems kind of basic, but... orcs do die of old age just like humans and stuff, right?
Plan for their own and call it home. Sargeras had not forgotten about Azeroth though, and his left-hand man Kil'jaeden had managed to capture the orc Ner'zhul as he stepped through the portal that he had made on Draenor. Ner'zhul had betrayed Kil'jaeden in the past, so Kil'jaeden tortured his soul for a while until he came up with a new plan and purpose for this orc. He transformed Ner'zhul.
They die, they live a long time. You think humans die the fastest out of all the races? Because trolls are a really ancient race. I would imagine that they survive for a long time. And then, I mean, maybe gnomes. Actually, but gnomes and dwarves they were from the Curse of the Flesh, right? So they probably even live longer than humans, I would imagine, because the Titans kind of put some spell on them, and that's how they're alive. I feel like humans are the plebs. They just die in like 100 years.
Soul into the Lich King, and he sent him down to Azeroth to weaken it and make it ready for a new invasion. This led into the events from Warcraft 3, and these events play a major role for the rest of the lore in World of Warcraft. First, Ner'zhul conquered Northrend, and he searched for allies. He found the wizard Kel'Thuzad, whose power and position allowed him to spread the plague across Lordaeron and turned its citizens into the undead. Prince Arthas of Lordaeron was sent by his father to investigate the plague, and together with Jaina Proudmoore, he found out what was going on, and his devotion to keeping his people safe led him to the cold heart of Northrend, where he eventually found the Blade Frostmourne. This weapon allowed him to take out the Dreadlord Mal'Ganis, but it also sold his soul to Ner'zhul.
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this.
Oh, dude, this is such a good dungeon. Was that Wrath where you got to go through I think it was Wrath, right? Yeah, it was definitely Wrath, where you get to do the time walking and you go back and you get that cool shield and you go through the whole events again in Stratholme.
Jaina didn't follow Arthas to Northrend. She thought that what he was doing was not the right way and that he was going too far. After Arthas purged Stratholme, she received a visit from the prophet Medivh. Medivh was resurrected by his mother and on a mission to stop...
This is what I love about Warcraft lore, I gotta say. This is the stuff, not really like the space age stuff with the Eridar. I know that stuff is important, but... This is the stuff I love to learn about. Like Prophet Medivh, Arthas, Lich King, and even about Thrall and his life. I think just the Warcraft 3 lore is the best.
Stop the Legion invasion and fix the mistakes he had made while under the influence of Sargeras. He told Jaina to take her people, the people of Lordaeron who were willing to follow her, and take them west to the ancient lands of Kalimdor. Medivh did the same with Thrall.
Getting engaged was awesome.
Ad time.
When we started planning the wedding, we didn't know where to begin.
Skip ad.
And while traveling, Thrall met up with the troll Sen'jin.
Dude, look how cool Warcraft 3 looks, man.
Sen'jin
I wanna
lost his
play
life to
Warcraft,
Murlocs and a Naga, so his son Vol'jin took over and he allied himself with Thrall. They then met
Vol'jin's dad is Sen'jin. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Get the Chronicles books. Yeah, Magster, I actually really want to, bro. I almost got one at the. I was at Barnes and Noble the other day. I was almost gonna get them. Actually, I really want to get them because Chris Metzen wrote them, right? That guy knows the lore, man.
led by the old bull Cairn, and after Thrall helped him out, Cairn joined the Horde in his mission. Eventually, Jaina, Cairn and Thrall, they found themselves in the presence of Medivh himself, and he explained to them what was going on. That the Legion was invading, that it was his fault that the Orcs invaded Azeroth in the first place, and he told them that they...
Yo, just look how fun Warcraft 3 looks. Just look at that. That still holds up, man. I just want to dive in there and play right now looking at that. I actually can't wait for Warcraft Reforged, man. Look how fun that looks, man.
They should have to team up. You have to understand that this was not good. Humans and Orcs working together was just unimaginable, but for the greater good, they did. In the meantime, Ner'zhul and his crew, they were working for the Legion, and Arthas was sent on a task of resurrecting Kel'Thuzad.
Dude, I love that game.
For this, he would need a great fountain of power found in the High Elf Kingdom of Quel'Tha. The High Elves tried to defend their lands, but they failed, and in the end, High Ranger Sylvanas Windrunner was turned into a
That guy
vessel
is the lore, hell yeah.
to fight her own people.
Finish it. I deserve a clean death.
After all you've put me through, woman, the last thing I'll give you is the peace of death.
No. You wouldn't dare.
That was Sylvanas before she got...
The Sunwell.
Yo, you telling me Arthas killed Sylvanas? Am I retarded? How did I not know that? Arthas killed Sylvanas? Help me out, chat. He deserved an in-game NPC? Oh, hell yeah.
Resurrect Kel'Thuzad. And the High Elves were so addicted to this magical source of power that they now had to find a new source to cope with their addiction. Their prince, Kil'Thuzad Sunstrider, decided that they should now be called Blood Elves in honor of all those who had sacrificed themselves trying to defend their kingdom against Arthas and the Scourge. Kel'Thuzad, now reborn as a Lich, he used the Book of Medivh to summon Archimonde into Azeroth. Archimonde had been there during the War of the Ancients, so he knew about Azeroth's resistance and which forces he needed to take out, so he set his eyes on the World Tree Nordrassil and the Night Elves.
Oh, this is the
Those
Archimonde
who
Wisp
caused
thing.
so much trouble before. Archimonde had also brought the Pit Lord Manaroth with him, and Manaroth was put on the task of reawakening the Orcs' slavery to the Legion. He placed a pool full of demon blood near Ashenville, which Gromhellscream found, and he orders his troops to take a drink. This boosted their power, and this allowed them to conquer the land, but it also placed his people in the hands of Manaroth once more.
Mm.
No.
Thrall and Jaina, they found out about this. They managed to
Oh,
save
I watched the
Manaroth from
cinematic.
Manaroth's influence, and in an heroic act, Grom sacrificed himself to take out Manaroth and free the rest of his people once and for all.
Dude, that is so fucking cool.
Have freed myself. No, old friend. You freed us all.
Legend, dude.
As Archimonde made his way to Nordrassil and the Night Elves, he found Rhonda Whisperwind leading all of them. She managed to escape a direct confrontation, she woke up her mate Malfurion Stormrage, and liberated her longtime friend Illidan Stormrage from his prison to fight against the Legion. Illidan was imprisoned by the Night Elves themselves for his crimes during the War of the Ancients, but for Tyrande, he was willing to fight the Legion. His twin brother Malfurion thought that this was a very bad idea, so Illidan left them, and he fought his own war against the Legion. Eventually, Thrall, Jaina, Cairn and the Horde, they found the Night Elves led by Malfurion and Tyrande, and together they took on Archimonde. They actually managed to defeat this powerful being, but it came with a great price.
Bro,
The World Tree
imagine we could get a full-length movie with this kind of cinematic level, man. Oh, dude, I would just, like, give all my money for that.
Nordrassil, the one thing that gave the Night Elves their immortality, it was blown up and destroyed. With enough time, the tree would heal though, but the immortality of the Night
Doesn't it kind of bum any of you out that they made the Warcraft movie finally, right? Like it was like 10 years later. I remember back in high school, we were all thinking that the Warcraft movie was gonna come out like in senior year, and it didn't. It didn't come out till way later. But I'm so surprised they didn't do any of these like really classic stories in it. I don't even really know the story of the Warcraft movie. I feel like it was just some random thing.
Elves was was gone. A small price to pay for the survival of Azeroth, and with his mission complete, with the Legion invasion prevented, Medivh stepped away and took his place amongst the legends of the past.
I came back to ensure that there would be a future. To teach the world that it no longer needed guardians. The hope for future generations has always resided in mortal hands. And now that my task is done, I will take my place amongst the legends of the past.
Azeroth was not yet safe though. The Legion invasion was pretty much over by this time, but Ner'zhul the Lich King, Arthas and Kel'Thuzad were still out there. Ner'zhul had no intentions of staying under the control of Kil'jaeden, so he had Illidan manipulated to mess up the Legion's plans, and by extension breaking himself free. Kil'jaeden realized that Ner'zhul was becoming too much of a threat, so he himself made contact with Illidan. He told him to take out Ner'zhul, and as a reward Illidan would receive the power he desired. Illidan did his very best, but unfortunately he was unable to succeed in his mission. He even teamed up with Kil'jaeden's Sunstrider and Lady Vux, but his brother
TPC, baby.
Valkyrian prevented his first attempt of destroying Ner'zhul from a distance, since this would also have destroyed the land of Northrend itself. This attack did weaken Ner'zhul though. Sending Frostmourne to Arthas had created a crack in the ice which enveloped Ner'zhul, and this attack by Illidan made the crack even bigger. Ner'zhul's powers were rapidly pouring out of him, and he ordered Arthas to immediately come to Icecrown and merge with him. Arthas was infused with the powers from Ner'zhul. He was a Death Knight now, and losing a portion of these powers meant that he was also losing control over the undead. The Banshee Sylvanas managed to regain control over herself, and she even regained her body. She was pissed off with Arthas about what he had done to her and her people, so she plotted her revenge. She shot Arthas with a poisonous arrow, which did not kill him, but it did stun him. An instant death was too good for this butcher. Sylvanas had other plans in mind for a slow and painful death. Before all of this could happen, she was discovered by Kel'Thuzad. He saved Arthas' life, and he forced Sylvanas to retreat. Sylvanas wasn't the only one who was able to break away from the Lich King's command, and she swore that she would have a revenge. Those willing, those able to break free from their control, joined her and made her their queen, the Queen of the Forsaken. They took the capital city of Lordaeron, which once belonged to Arthas' father. They made it their home, while Arthas made his way to Northrend.
Damn, it's kind of crazy. I feel like some stuff is happens during Classic, some stuff happens before Classic, some stuff seems like it's way after Classic. Chronologically, I don't know, I'm having a hard time putting all the pieces together, but...
The frozen throne is mine.
So year 2022, this is all still before Videla.
Step aside. Leave this world and never return. If you do, I'll be waiting.
I have sworn to destroy it, Arthas. It must be done. Never.
Illidan was hot in pursuit of Arthas, and he almost succeeded in his mission, but in the end Arthas defeated him in combat in front of Icecrown. This meant that Arthas merged with Ner'zhul, becoming the Lich King.
This is still
himself,
all before
and he
Classic.
left
That's
Illidan
crazy.
in the snow to die. Illidan didn't die though. His allies, Lady Vux and Kil'jaeden, they picked him up, they dragged him back to Outland, where they prepared their forces for the inevitable wrath of Kil'jaeden. This pretty much concludes the storyline of Warcraft 3, and in the end, Thrall and Jaina decided to build a
Alright, now
new
we're
home.
talking. We're moving on to
Jaina
Vanilla.
built Theramore, while Thrall built Orgrimmar, and they built these cities close to each other to try and keep the
Jaina built Theramore, the more you know. Interesting, okay.
peace between human and orcs going. Old hatred.
Do you think in lore, Theramore is the same size and importance as Stormwind? You always think of it as just like a random little city, but I don't know. I mean, it is pretty big, and it's got big castles and stuff.
hard though, and Jaina's father, Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, he showed up to teach his daughter how to handle orcs. He wanted to fight them, since he also fought with them in the First and Second War, and he didn't realize, he didn't understand, that these orcs might be different. Jaina disagreed with her father. She had fought with Thrall and the orcs in the Torrent side by side against the Legion, so she knew that these orcs were different, and she stepped away from her father. She did nothing as the Horde retaliated against her father, and in the end, the peace between Jaina and Thrall would last for a long time.
That's a bummer.
Sad to say, the same can't be said for the
Or is
Alliance
it?
and Horde as a whole, because this brings us to the World of Warcraft expansions.
4 years have passed since the mortal races banded together and stood united against the might of the Burning Legion. Though Azeroth was saved, the tenuous pact between the Horde and the Alliance...
Theramore's #2 human
has
city?
always
Okay.
evaporated.
It's the Alliance's main foothold in Kalimdor.
War, thunder, once again.
Like I said, old hatreds die hard. War has returned to the lands, and Alliance and Horde are at it again. They don't call it Warcraft for nothing, but the team...
So, okay, what do you guys think about what Real Kyle said? He said classic vanilla and Wrath of the Lich King are all out of order and are not canon. That's what I'm feeling like watching this right now, because he's doing this all chronologically. See how it's year 25 now? But I feel like this content was all throughout the different expansions, and some, I mean, I don't know.
have changed a little. The Alliance of Lordaeron was the old name for the Alliance.
Hey, what's up,
and that
Aguchi?
one pretty much
What's up,
disappeared
man?
When the Dark Portal was closed to save Azeroth. The new Alliance consists of several races, with each having an individual leader. The humans, mainly from the rebuilt Stormwinds, were first led by Anduin and later taken over by his father, Varian Rin. The dwarves from Ironforge, led by Magni Bronzebeard. The gnomes from Nomergon, led by Gelden Mechatork, and the Night Elves, led by Tyrande Whisperwind, while also having a little bit of a power struggle with Archdruid Vandal Stackhelm. The Horde still has the Orcs, with their Warchief Thrall as leader of all the races in the Horde, but all the leaders do have a say in what the Horde does.
Best
The
Warchief.
Horns are still led by
Karen Bloodhoof.
The Darkspear Trolls, still led by Vol'jin, and surprisingly, the Forsaken, led by Sylvanas Windrunner. The Forsaken were in a bit of trouble when they took over Lordaeron, since the Alliance would never accept their former brothers and sisters living with them as the undead. Not after all the events with the Scourge and Arthas, they just saw them as the Scourge themselves. Sylvanas had sent out several letters asking for aid and a faction to team up with, and eventually Thrall allowed the Forsaken to join the Horde. He allowed them to join after Archdruid Hamul Runetotem convinced him, since Hamul believed that there was potential for redemption for the Forsaken. Those are the factions on both the Alliance and the Horde. Now the story during Classic World of Warcraft, it was all over the place. This was our first chance to see Warcraft in a much larger environment. It was no longer an RTS, now it's a full-fledged 3D world, but not much of a consistent story. Basically, it comes down to Horde and Alliance fighting each other over different pieces of land and for different reasons, while also making sure that the world itself isn't taken over by any bad guys. This is a theme that returns in every expansion, and for this one we took on Ragnaros the Firelords, Onyxia and Nefarian, both children of Deathwing, Cthulhu, one of the old gods, Hakar the Soulflayer, the blood god of the Gurubashi trolls, and finally Kel'Thuzad, who assaulted the world.
It's funny though, right? When he's explaining this, he makes it seem like this is all just a footnote. Like, oh yeah, some weird stuff happened during Classic, and I guess it makes sense these weren't the biggest villains on a cosmic level, but these are the ones I care about, man. I want to learn about these. That's the thing about vanilla, man. It was just a bunch of smaller conflicts. I love that. Like,
Citadel known as Naxxramas.
You are not prepared.
During the Burning Crusade, the Dark Portals reopened by Doomlord Khazak, and we got a first look at the worlds known as Outlands. The Draenei, led by Prophet Velen, the same Draenei who were nearly slaughtered by the First Horde, they made their way to Azeroth and they joined the Alliance.
I thought he was on
The
Argus.
Blood Elves were being led by Lor'themar Foran, while their Prince Kil'Thuz was hanging out in Outlands with Illidan and Lady Vash. The Blood Elves had lost nearly everything to Arthas and the Scourge, and they teamed up with the Horde. In Outland, we found out that Kil'Thuz had sent his forces, presumably in order of Illidan, and they attacked the Naru
Oh, yeah.
in Shafra.
What are those things, by the way? I always wondered. Those like glowing things that are they look kind of like gods or something like that. Are they really strong?
The Naru are hell-bent on fighting the Legion.
Naru,
This is also
right, yeah,
part of
Naru.
the reason why they saved the Draenei so many years ago. So attacking them doesn't really make sense if you fear the wrath of Kil'jaeden. The lore in the Burning Crusade was also a little bit messed up. They started to pick up the game during Wrath of the Lich King, and in the end we took out Lady Vash, we took out
They're
Illidan,
gods?
and we even took out Kil'Thuz's Sunstrider.
They are
had
the
two
light?
sides and was no longer
Oh shit. So like when you're casting holy light or something, and they're always talking about the light, that's who they're getting the power from. Okay.
working for Illidan, now he was working for Kil'jaeden and the Burning Legion itself. This was not what the rest of the Blood Elves wanted, so they turned against that.
Sunwell, dude.
There was a
Sunwell
legion
Plateau.
that tried to
Love
bring
it.
Kil'jaeden into Azeroth, but we prevented it and we saved the world. As a bonus, Prophet
I'm
Velen
still mad I never got that bow, man. The bow that gives you unlimited ammo and makes its own ammo. That was the coolest thing ever to me.
ignited the Sunwell by using the core of a fallen Naru, giving the Blood Elves a chance at a better future, while also giving them back their source of power.
Salvation, young one. It waits for us all.
Now going back to Outland gave the orcs a chance to see what happened to their planet, and Thrall found Garrosh Hellscream, son of Grom Hellscream, and he told him about how Grom sacrificed himself to liberate their people of their demonic enslavement. Garrosh...
How would he not know? His son didn't know that whole time? He's brown, by the way, so he didn't... I guess he's just... wasn't part of it. He never drank any blood. He never drank any blood or turned green or anything.
Decided to follow Thrall to Azeroth, but he couldn't understand why Thrall was trying to negotiate and be peaceful with the Alliance. In his eyes, they shouldn't beg or ask or negotiate. They should conquer like true orcs, like the original Horde.
Can we give the first legendary bow to a rogue, Connor? Hell no, dude. I'm gonna spend all my DKP on that.
After years of meditating on his life, building up his forces, and it was time to conquer the world. His converted Death Knights were sent to assault Light's Hope Chapel to draw out the powerful paladin known as Tyrion Fordring. The plan worked perfectly. Tyrion was brought out into the open, but Arthas' betrayal led to Tyrion purifying the Ashbringer and the Death Knights of the Ebonblade teaming up with either the Alliance or the Horde.
Void Lord. 3/9, 9 mana.
Together, they marched onto Northrend and Icecrown itself, taking down any challenge placed before them by the Lich King.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying, Max. I guess vanilla wasn't that big of a chapter in the lore, right? It's the lore I care about the most, but it doesn't. They almost just skipped right over it. Like it's like almost the lore resumed in TBC, which is I don't know how I feel about that. I want to learn about the lore of the Defias Brotherhood and like the Venture Co. and the Steam Weedle Cartel and I don't know, all those weird little factions, you know, those little furbogs, like why are they all corrupted and stuff, you know?
They even took on the Blue Dragon aspect Malagos, who had decided that mortals were abusing magic and were no longer allowed to have any of it. This started the Nexus War, in which we teamed up with the Red Dragonflights and we took out one of the 5 dragon aspects.
I don't know if Vanilla WoW would have been as successful as it was if imagine you're in vanilla, right? And instead of the bosses that we did fight and instead of the power level, imagine in vanilla they made you so strong. Like your power level was crazy, like from the jump. And instead of killing like Ragnaros or Onyxia, you were killing Pantheon members and stuff like that. And you were dealing with this huge cosmic level and the light and the Naru. It may have just been, you know, sensory overload, you know. I think there was something made it stick, man, that it was so low level, you know.
Meanwhile, the old god Yaxuran, he was trying to break out of his prison. We also took him out, but at the Wrathgate, tragedy struck.
Wrathgate, dude, this was badass. Start flinging the catapults at them.
Did you think we had forgiven? Behold now the terrible vengeance of the Forsaken. Death to the Scourge and death to the living!
Sylvanas, in her quest for vengeance against the Lich King, had her people working on a plague that would eradicate both the living and the undead. She planned to use this against Arthas and his forces, but she was betrayed by her own people who used it against the Alliance, the Horde, and Arthas, and against anyone there at the Wall.
Damn, yeah, even Arthas kind of got fucked up.
The city from Sylvanas, but Varian and Thrall, they went in, they took out those responsible, and they liberated the city. Sylvanas had her city back, so it was time to march upon Icecrown and take on the Lich King himself. Everything Arthas had worked for, testing the heroes, molding them into the ultimate champions, had worked perfectly. In the end, he was able to
You need a logo. Why not make it?
Sorry, another ad. Give it a second.
and he was about to convert them into his army, but Tyrion and the Ashbringer shattered the Blade Frostmourne. Thousands of captured souls broke out of the blade, they held Arthas up into the air, while we finished the job. There must always be a
I like that as a touch, right? You didn't actually personally kill the Lich King, you know, it kind of went to that cutscene right at the end as he was dying. I think that was a good...
Lich King, though, to keep
Dude,
the
this was
Scourge in check.
badass.
If not, the Restless Scourge would just go out and destroy everything in their path. Tyrion was about to place the helmet on his head, take that position as the Lich King, but Bolvar Fourdragon stopped him. Bolvar, former hero of the Alliance who died at the Wrathgate, was resurrected by the dragons, and he stepped up and he placed the helmet on his head.
Tell them only that the Lich King is dead, and that Bolvar Fourdragon died with him.
What a legend.
Now, go. Leave this place and never return.
What a fucking god, dude.
The Black Dragon aspect Deathwing had been spending his time recovering from his wounds, and now the old god N'Zoth told him that the time had come. The time had come to shake the world and cause the cataclysm, with the end goal of bringing about the Hour of Twilight. The Hour of Twilight is the moment in which the old gods break free out of their prisons and rule the world once more.
All right. This is getting into Kata stuff, man. I'm not too terribly interested into like the panda story and the cataclysm. I got some other videos here as well. I think these ones are more related to classic. This one's Illidan, Duskwood, Westfall, dude. Let's hear about Westfall.
The dark, dense forest to the south of
Not
Alba,
Weird by
not
Duskwood.
always.
I love Westfall, man. Like the stories in Westfall. Hopefully this is like vanilla stories about Westfall and not Cataclysm. I'm already seeing a little
The
Cataclysm
arid plains
picture.
of Westfall were once riddled with lush farmland and rich mines. Years of conflict and neglect have not been kind to the land.
Womp womp, time for the downfall of WoW. Yeah, dude.
And now the old Alliance province has fallen to banditry and drought.
This is what I'm talking about. They're talking about provinces, and it's falling to drought. You know, like these are like small, like these are small third world problems. You know what I mean? Like I love that, dude. People are starving for food, ragtag bandits looting the land. That's a lot different from like, you know, Kamehameha blasts like destroying planets and Deathwing breathing fire on the world.
With only a handful of Stormwind soldiers remaining to keep the peace.
I hope they talk about. I hope this isn't post-Kata Westfall though. Please be like vanilla Westfall lore. Vanilla Westfall lore is sweet. The People's Militia.
When the Orcish horde took Stormwind at the climax of the First War, Westfall too fell into the Orcs' hands. The Second War saw the liberation of Stormwind and its provinces, but it was then that Westfall truly fell on hard times. Stormwind was to be rebuilt, and the Stonemasons Guild was contracted for the work. The truth behind the events that transpired after the completion of Stormwind are unclear. The Stonemasons, led by Edwin Van Cleef, claimed that they
What? The stonemasons who built Stormwind, led by Edwin Van Cleef? Alright, this is juicy.
were not paid the agreed upon amount. The House of Nobles, the Stonemasons' employers, claimed Edwin demanded more money than originally contracted. When the House of Nobles ordered the guild disbanded, Van Cleef grew furious, and a riot broke out in Stormwind. The Queen, Tiffin Ryn, was killed by an errant stone to the head, and King Varian Ryn flew into a rage and drove the rioters from the city. It would later be revealed that Onyxia of the Black Dragonflight, disguised as Katrana Prestor, had a manipulative hand in turning the two groups against each other. When Van Cleef and his newly formed Defias Brotherhood attempted to take Elwyn Forest and failed, he fell back on Westfall.
I love this. This is making sense. This is the whole purpose of the stream. So I'm learning so much. Edwin Van Cleef was the leader of the Stonemasons. They were contracted to build Stormwind City. He got salty because he didn't get paid enough. The House of the Nobles kind of like scammed him or something, and then he started the Defias Brotherhood, tried to take over Elwyn Forest, and that's why you see, you know, those level 5 guys there, just the little cut purses and stuff at the farm and at the dock. All right,
And
just
made the
this
Dead
is great.
Mines to the south his lair. From there, the Brotherhood turned to banditry to collect the gold they claimed was rightfully theirs. Eventually, the people and the farmers of Westfall created the People's Militia to defend the dying land, and with the help of a band of heroes from Stormwind, stormed the Dead Mines and took Van Cleef's
And
head.
this is you. This is us, right? This is us. They partnered up with us, the People's Militia.
Already a barren dust bowl, the war against the Lich King and the Cataclysm took further toll against
Oh
Westfall.
man, don't tell me. Don't go to
The
Catalore,
Northrend
please.
campaign led to a sharp recession in the Stormwind provinces, and none felt it so hard as Westfall, which became a bastion for Stormwind's homeless and impoverished.
All right, it's getting into weird lore now. Let's go to the next one. Terran Gorefiend. Ooh, okay. Ooh, Mograine and the Ashbringer. This is the good stuff right here.
It's gorgeous.
This is that good stuff. Yeah. Mograine and the Ashbringer.
The First War. The Dark Portal opened, and orcs stormed Azeroth, burning everything in their path. Their warlocks, orcs trained by Gul'dan,
Ooh,
and the
this is
powers
what I'm
given
talking about
to
right
him
here.
by the Burning Legion, were one of the orcish horde's greatest and darkest assets. They wielded magics of Fel and Shadow, devastating the defending armies of Stormwind. The Second War. The orcish horde, successful in their conquest of the kingdom of Stormwind, turned their attention to the fleeing refugees and the human kingdoms to the north. They fought a ferocious battle.
We're not ignoring it. I like Lich King lore, wizard. I think it just when it gets the Kata. I think when it gets the Kata, that's where I'd want to stop it. I don't know, man. Just the Kata, it just loses me, man. It just loses me. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to this.
Wielded magics of Fel and Shadow, devastating the defending armies of Stormwind. The Second War. The orcish horde, successful in their
Oh, hey, what's up,
conquest of the
Dockin?
kingdom of
What's up, dude?
Stormwind, turned their attention to the fleeing refugees and the human kingdoms to the north. They fought a ferocious battle, but ultimately failed against the combined forces of the Lordaeron Alliance. In the end, Gul'dan betrayed the horde, taking those clans loyal to him away from the battle to the Broken Isles in search of the Tomb of Sargeras.
To the Broken Isles. Broken Isles, dude. Is that... Where are the Broken Isles, dude? Isn't the Broken Isles in Durotar? No. Maybe I'm trolling. In the heart of Azeroth. Oh, it's in the middle. Okay, so it's in between, like, Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. Okay.
The armies assaulting the walls of Lordaeron were routed.
Location Great
The Alliance
Sea.
gave
Okay.
chase right to the base of the Orcish horde, the Black Rock Spire. Here, on the slopes of Black Rock Mountain, the horde made their final stand. During the battle, a paladin, Alexandros Mograine, noticed a warlock using a dark orb to cast magics. When the warlock fell, Mograine approached the orb. The living embodiment of Shadow, he called it. He took it and kept it secret, hoping that someday the orb could be changed. Years passed. The orcs were locked away in internment camps, and peace settled over the northern kingdoms. And then another threat emerged, the undead scourge. Mograine saw an opportunity to use the orb. He revealed it to the other paladin leaders of the Silver Hand. Here was a crystal so concentrated with darkness, there must be another, an antithesis, one made of holy light.
That's
The other
sweet.
paladins were appalled at the sight of the crystal and blasted it with light in an attempt to destroy it. Instead, the crystal absorbed the spells and transformed, and there in front of Mograine was the crystal he had envisioned. Mograine traveled to Ironforge, accompanied by his advisor, Fairbanks. The two of them entreated King Magni Bronzebeard to take the crystal and forge it into a mighty weapon. The Dwarf King did just that, and there in the depths of Ironforge, the Ashbringer was made, a weapon with no equal, forged with the sole purpose of destroying the Scourge. Mograine took up the mighty weapon. With it, he would eradicate countless undead with ease, leaving only ashes in its wake. He became the Ashbringer, Scourge of the Scourge. Now the High Lord of the Silver Hand, he became humanity's greatest weapon against the Scourge onslaught. The Third War eventually came to an end with Archimonde and the Legion's defeat on the summit of Mount Hyjal, but amongst the Plaguelands that was once Lordaeron, the war against the undead continued on. 3 Dreadlords led the Scourge against the remaining humans, Deathrok, Vermathras, and Balnazar. The latter saw an opportunity. He killed Sidon Dathrahan, a leader amongst the remaining human resistance, and took his guise. Now masquerading as a leader of the enemy, he set his sights on his only remaining threat, the Ashbringer. He manipulated Renault Mograine, Alexandros Morgraine's son, promising him untold power if he helped kill his own father. Under Sidon's orders, Renault led both the Ashbringer and his advisor, Fairbanks,
That's the end boss of
into
SM.
Stratholme, a city now infested with the undead. The undead struck in an endless tide of rotting flesh and tearing claws, and Mograine, with the Ashbringer in hand, tore through them by the thousands.
Legend,
The undead
dude.
came
By the
and came
1,000?
and came, until finally Mograine dropped his weapon. Renault struck then, swiping the weapon up and driving it through his father. Alexandros Mograine fell there, in the streets of Stratholme, amidst the tide of undead, and his blade of pure holy light became corrupt, unable to survive such a heinous act.
Damn.
Fairbanks returned to Hearthglen, the center of
I knew his son
resistance.
killed him. I didn't know it
He
was
told
like
those
that
there the
though.
betrayal
He
of
went
Renault.
out against thousands
Those
of
who believed
undead.
him
That's
left
badass.
Hearthglen to create the Argent Dawn, but those who denied his claims killed him for his blasphemy and joined Renault to form the Scarlet Crusade. The two factions would spend the next few decades fighting both the undead hordes as well as each other. As for Alexandros and the Ashbringer, they were taken by Kel'Thuzad. Morgraine was raised as a Death Knight, and his Ashbringer, a twisted version of its former self, was returned to him. He was eventually confronted by his younger son, Darien Morgraine, deep in the halls of Naxxramas.
One of the horsemen,
He
right?
pleaded with his father, but was eventually forced to kill him, putting Alexandros' spirit to rest. Darien took the corrupted Ashbringer and left. Darien took the Ashbringer into the Scarlet Monastery. He confronted Renault, and when
Hey, what's
Renault
up, Grace?
attacked,
What's up, dude?
Alexandros' spirit rose from the blade to defend Darien. Renault begged for his father's forgiveness. Alexandros forgave his son, but only after using the Ashbringer to decapitate the treacherous man. From there, Darien joined the Argent Dawn in a stand against the Scourge at Light's Hope Chapel. In an attempt to free his father's trapped soul, Darien turned the Ashbringer on himself, driving the blade through his body. For his efforts, he was raised as a Death Knight under the Lich King's command, just as his father. He continued to wield the corrupted Ashbringer. The Lich King used him to train new Death Knights, and eventually sent Darien and his forces in a second assault against Light's Hope Chapel. The assault ultimately failed, and during the battle, the corrupted Ashbringer began to turn against Darien. When the Death Knights were forced to surrender, the paladin Tyrion Fordring revealed to Darien that the Lich King had knowingly sent them into a trap. Darien's father appeared to him then, and upon seeing his father, the last of the Lich King's hold broke on Darien. The two embraced, and Darien pledged himself to fight against the undead. The Lich King appeared, stole Alexandros' soul, and continued the strike on Light's Hope Chapel. Darien threw the Ashbringer to Tyrion, who took it up. In the hands of Tyrion, the Ashbringer was restored to its former magnificence. Tyrion used the Ashbringer to drive the Lich King off, securing a victory for the Argent Dawn. Tyrion joined the Argent Dawn and the remnants of the Silver Hand into the Argent Crusade. The Death Knights that had once served the Lich King banded together under Darien's command, forming the Knights of the Ebon Blade, and together the two factions led the rest of Azeroth's forces in a sprawling campaign to Northrend to face the might of the Lich King.
ICC,
Tyrion
baby.
led the assault on Icecrown, establishing the Argent Dawn, and joining with the Knights of the Ebon Blade to form the Ashen Verdict. Eventually, he confronted the Lich King himself at the frozen throne atop Icecrown Citadel. There, he used the Ashbringer to slay the Lich King, and finally put an end to the threat of the Scourge.
So the Ashbringer is what killed Lich King? The Ashbringer from Vanilla, that exact weapon was the one that killed the Lich
Then
King.
the Ashbringer returned to Hearthglen
That is cool,
and
dude.
began to rebuild and restore the Plaguelands.
Wait, that's
Years
crazy
later,
though. So I mean, if you have the corrupted Ashbringer in Classic, that's the weapon that's eventually going to kill the Lich King. Dude, that's
they called the
crazy.
battle once more.
Kind of want to get it. Kind of want to get it now.
Appeared on the broken shore. Tyrion and his Argent Crusade were the first defenders on the scene, and the Legion overwhelmed.
Oh, we got a new member, man. Christopher Taylor. Thank you for joining, man. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it, bro.
Tyrion was taken.
I kind of want corrupted Ashbringer now. You get the weapon that gets to kill Lich King.
Foothold. Before the armies of the Alliance and the Horde, Tyrion was dropped into a pool of lava and seemingly killed. Only later was it discovered that Tyrion was still alive. The newly restored Order of the Silver Hand, comprised of paladins all over the world, led an assault on the broken shore. They found Tyrion
Ashbringer Hunter weapon.
former near death.
You know it,
Tyrion
Multi. You know
passed
it.
The title of the Ashbringer onto a
I'm
new
spending all my DKP on that.
With the Ashbringer in hand, the new paladin set forth to defend Azeroth from the invading masses of the Burning Legion. The Ashbringer is easily one of the most recognized weapons across all Azeroth, and played a major role in the downfall of the Lich King and his undead scourge. Any who face the Ashbringer should be prepared to face the full might of the Holy Light.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet, man. Let's see what else this guy's got. The Seven Kingdoms Warcraft lore. Ooh, the Wetlands. I do like the Wetlands lore. It might have to be Wetlands lore time. Loch Modan lore. Oh, dude, this is what's up. Let's go Loch Modan.
Got 90 seconds?
This is one of my
Get
favorite
your
zones.
phone, laptop, bike, and more covered for the price of
Loch Modan, so cozy. 2 ads? Jeez, man. This guy needs to chill.
2.5 millennia ago, the dwarves established themselves as a presence among the mountains of Cosmodon.
Look how nice that
Over
zone
the years
looks.
following the founding of Ironforge, the dwarves expanded their reach. To the east, a massive waterfall descended into the bay below, fed by a large loch. The dwarves set to work there, building one of the greatest architectural wonders on
Dude,
all
I was so mad when they took that out.
Vazaroth, the Stone Rot Dam.
Stone Rot
The
Dam.
slowed the water, causing the loch to grow in size. The dwarves settled along the shores of the large loch.
What's up, dudes?
And called the land Loch Modan.
I gotta say, the whole dwarf like aesthetic and lore and it's really grown on me over the years, I have to say. I think dwarves are kind of cool.
Continued to serve as a home for outlying dwarves for many years, relatively untouched by the ravages of the wars around it. When the War of the Three Hammers broke out, the Wildhammer clan settled north of Loch Modan, building Grim Batol in the wetlands.
Ooh, Grim
The Dark
Batol.
Irons ventured south to the Red Ridge Mountains. From there, they
Quick question, if anyone knows. So Grim Batol, you can't go there in vanilla, right? But it's still supposed to be there. Is Grim Batol bigger than Ironforge? Like, is it just a dwarf city like Ironforge?
built an army and struck their adversaries to the north. The Bronzebeards of Ironforge and the Wildhammers of Grim Batol held against the Dark Iron assault, joining forces to push Thaurissan back to Red Ridge, and watched as he summoned Ragnaros, destroying much of Red Ridge and erecting the molten peak of Black Rock Mountain. After the war, the Thanes of the Bronzebeard and the Wildhammer clans became kings of their respective cities, and eventually passed away. Their sons, seeking to memorialize the two great leaders, commissioned grand statues at the southern entrance to Loch Modan, in what is now known as the Valley of Kings. The great statues of Mandaran Bronzebeard and Cowardross Wildhammer serve as a warning to any who would assault
Look how
the
cool that
lands
looks,
of
man.
the dwarves. That warning would be ignored with the coming of the Second War. The Orcish horde brought with them bloodshed, driving the dwarves from Loch Modan as they warred with the Alliance. After the Alliance drove the horde back from their lands, the dwarves of Ironforge returned to Loch Modan, reclaiming it for their kingdom. Evidence of the horde's activities in Loch Modan, such as siege weapons scattered across the bottom of the loch, can still be seen decades later.
That's so cool, dude. So if you go to the bottom of the loch and you see siege weapons, like Blizzard almost... I want to go back in Classic and check, man, and see if that actually is there in Classic. I don't know if they added it later. But if there's siege weapons at the bottom of the loch, that is awesome, man. It's like they went so far as to put ancient history into the game, you know? Just if you were to swim down there and check.
Apart from the orcs, Loch Modan has been in long contention with the Dark Iron dwarves. The dam in particular is a hot spot for Dark Iron activity. The dwarves of Ironforge have been forced to increase security to prevent Dark Iron seizing control of the crucial landmark.
Look how messed up it
Dark
looks
Irons
now,
believe
man.
the dam property of the Thaurissan Empire. Its construction was headed by Fran Clorn Forgewright before the War of the Three Hammers, a respected architect of the Dark Iron clan. Aside from the dam, Forgewright's accomplishments include many of the dwarven structures under Black Rock Mountain, including Black Rock Spire and much of Black...
Hey Cargos, I enjoyed experiencing Azeroth from 2005-2009 and have played off and on ever since. Your guides are legit keeping the faith alive for me, and I cannot wait for Classic. Yo, Christopher, man, good to have you as part of the fam, dude. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you like the guides, man.
Black Rock depths. The Cataclysm changed the landscape of Loch Modan drastically. When Deathwing passed over the Stone Rot Dam, following his cataclysmic
I'm a simple
emergence
man.
from
I see
the
Deathwing,
dam buckled.
and I bounce. Let's see. Let's do wetlands, dude. Oh, man, there's so many good ones, though. Hillsbrad. Let's go wetlands. I really like wetlands.
All your stuff covered in...
Before the War of the Three Hammers splintered dwarven civilization, the dwarves were able to build a number of technological wonders. Among these was the Stone Rot Dam, a massive wall that blocked the water runoff from the tall peaks of the Cos Mountains. On its southern end, water pooled to create the large loch in Loch Madon, and to the north, it stymied the water that fell into the enormous swamps of the wetlands.
You're farming in wetlands right now? I really enjoy the aesthetic of the
When the War
wetlands.
of the Three Hammers broke out, the Wildhammer clan was evicted from Ironforge and forced to find a new home. It was to these northern reaches of Cosmodon that they traveled, erecting a bastion on the borders of the wetlands and the Twilight Highlands. They called it Grim Batol, and there the Wildhammers began to grow a legacy to rival that of Ironforge's. To the south, amidst the Red Ridge Mountains, the Dark Iron clan built their own bastion, and from here, Sorcerer Thane Tharasan launched a two-pronged attack. Half his army he led to the gates of Ironforge.
You're leveling at alt right now, Bash?
While his wife
42
Morgana bore
Warlock?
down upon
Nice,
Grim
man.
Batol with the rest
Are
of
you,
the Dark
souling?
Irons. Grim Batol's gates fell, and the two dwarven clans fought a fierce battle within its walls. Unbeknown to the Wildhammers, Modgood had acquired a dark
Dude, that is
artifact
Grim Batol. Dude, Grim Batol looks huge. That looks
heading the strike on Grim Batol.
Ironforge level.
The dwarven sorceress pulled out the cursed dagger Zalatoth, a twisted weapon dating back to the Black Empire. With it she wove a spell, a curse that caused the shadows of
Dude, Grim Batol looks bigger than Ironforge. Look at this.
Grim Batol to come alive and strike at the Wildhammers.
Place looks
Kadros
insane.
Wildhammer, leader of the Wildhammers, was able to rally his forces and defend against the onslaught, before finally dealing a fatal blow to Modgood. The Dark Irons fled Grim Batol, and the Wildhammers, allying with the Bronzebeards, chased the Dark Irons back to the Red Ridge Mountains.
I want to know what happened to Grim Batol, man. That looks like it was like a beautiful city at one point. Now it looks all like dark and corrupted.
Where they witnessed Tharasan accidentally summon Ragnaros, leading to the creation of Black Rock Mountain, the death of Tharasan and many of the Dark Irons, and the end of the grueling war. When the Wildhammers returned home, however, they found their fortress still cursed by Modgood's spell. They deemed it uninhabitable, forging northward to Airy Peak.
I love Airy
The
Peak.
Bronzebeards sought to keep friendships and trade alive with the Wildhammers. Together they built a mighty bridge. The Thandal's span bridged the gap between the wetlands and the Arathi Highlands, linking the continents of Cosmodon and Lordaeron, and allowing for safer, easier passage across the gap. With the war ended and trade established, both clans entered a time of prosperity. More than 2 centuries later, Grim Batol would find itself inhabited by a different race. Orcs had come through the Dark Portal, and eventually succeeded in sacking the human city of Stormwind. They marched north, initiating the Second War and attacking the peoples of Lordaeron. The Dragonmaw clan took possession of Grim Batol. When they found and enslaved the Red Dragon Aspect, Alexstrasza, using the Demon's Soul, they made Grim Batol her prison. They used her to breed red dragons, to fly into battle, giving them a massive advantage during the Second War, and allowing them to hold the fortress long after the war had ended. Eventually, the fortress was stormed by a group of heroes led by Ronan, and Alexstrasza was freed. The Dragonmaw clan was mostly decimated in the resulting attack by Alexstrasza and her brood.
So this all happened before Classic WoW. Huh. That's cool.
The few survivors fled to the hills of the wetlands and the Twilight Highlands. In the years following, dwarves from Ironforge began to repopulate the area, setting up a few expedition camps across the swamp. Menethil Harbor was erected alongside the western coast, a port for Alliance forces in the area. A few red dragons continued to inhabit Grim Batol and the surrounding area. And then the cataclysm struck.
That's why you see the whelps and the little dragonlings around there, right? It makes sense.
Devastation racked the wetlands. The Stone-Rot Dam was broken in Deathwing's destructive path, causing the loch from above to empty out onto the wetlands in a massive burst. Seismic activity caused the ocean to crash against the western coast, flooding Menethil Harbor. The swamp's ecosystems were thrown into disarray, and to the east, the Twilight's hammer assaulted Grim Batol, driving the red dragons out and taking the old fortress as their own. When a hero arrives in wetlands, they find Dragonmaw orcs and Dark Iron dwarves alike attempting to take advantage of the chaos. Dwarves surveying the damage to the land find the swamps at the base of the dam severely flooded and filled with wildlife that once lived in the loch of Lochmadon, as well as water elementals disturbed by the floods. They worry that the land beneath the wetlands has become unstable after the cataclysm, which could cause sudden, massive topological destabilization. Arriving in Menethil, the hero finds the town flooded and in disarray.
All right.
Seizing on the opportunity, Dark Irons have attacked the town and holed up in the...
Let's do one more, dude. Let's do one more classic vanilla zone. Let's see, Cenarius, Ghostlands, Teldrassil. I don't know much about Teldrassil. Let's go Durotar, dude. I want to learn about Durotar. As a proud member of the Horde, man, you got to know about Durotar.
Dry, cracked, and nearly barren, the land of Durotar is where Thrall settled his horde after sailing to Kalimdor, at the behest of the guardian Medivh. Named for Thrall's father, Durotan of the Frostwolves, and home to the great horde capital, Orgrimmar, named for the war chief, Orgrim Doomhammer, Durotar is the horde's main base of operation, and where many of its aspiring soldiers are trained.
Hey, good morning, Becklin. Hey, what's up, Kilgore? I'm glad you like it, man. The World Cataclysm head card goes shook. I don't know. I don't know. I lose interest.
Came to Medivh, he sought to warn the peoples of Azeroth. The eastern kingdoms, he saw, would be ravaged by the undead scourge. To Medivh, escaping to Kalimdor to prepare for the oncoming...
One thing that's interesting is it seems like Eastern Kingdoms is where everything was at, and then they make Kalimdor seem like some uncharted territory, like some crazy new land. It's kind of interesting, and I guess that's coming from the human perspective, right? That's why they only have a few strongholds over there. But, I wonder who's native to Kalimdor, though, if anyone.
Assault was the most prudent plan. Of all the peoples he sought to warn, only Thrall and Jaina Proudmoore heeded his warning and set sail across the sea. Along with recovering his scattered troops, allying with the Darkspear trolls and the Tauren, and leading the Horde's defensive position at the Battle of Mount Hyjal, Thrall sought to found a new capital city for the Orcs on Azeroth. He sectioned off an
Night
area of
Elves
the
and Trolls, that
Barrens
makes
originally
sense.
belonging to the native Razormen and Spillboars, driving them out and claiming the land for the Orcs. And so Durotar and the capital Orgrimmar were born. Its first great battle would come before the city could truly take hold. To the south, Orgrimmar held a tentative alliance with the equally young Theramore and its leader, Jaina Proudmoore. When Jaina's father, Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, led an armada from Kul Tiras across the sea to search for human survivors of Jaina's expedition, he encountered the Horde and took up arms. He implored Jaina to assist him in cleaning the scum from Kalimdor, and she was forced to choose.
I have to say, guys, Warcraft 3 looks freaking epic, dude. Just watching these videos and seeing the clips from them, the game really holds up. Like, that is totally playable right there. I actually want to play right now. I can't wait for Reforged, man.
Peace over family. She helped defend Orgrimmar, allowing for
like,
the
look how
Orcs
nice
to
that
establish
looks, man.
Durotar as their home. The Darkspear trolls too established a base in Durotar upon the Echo Islands, but were forced to flee with the Kul Tiras invasion.
Kul Tiras invasion. That's where they have that little castle. That little. Okay. That's okay. So in Durotar they have that little tiny castle. Remember, where you see the human marines, you see the Kul Tiras marines, and then you got Zalazane and those trolls left on the Echo Isles.
Were driven out, they attempted again to settle on the Echo Islands, but were betrayed by one of their own. Zalazane! Used necromantic magics to force the trolls from the Isles and onto the Durotar mainland, where they established Sen'jin village, named for their leader Vol'jin's father. Zalazane proved resilient, evading proper assassination despite many attempts. Only until Vol'jin rallied his warriors and gained the assistance of the Druids, led by Zentabra, and the Death Loa, Wan Samdi, did they overpower Zalazane and retake the Echo Islands for their own.
You mean you don't kill him at level 9? That's so funny to me, man. Zalazane actually has kind of like a significance in the lore, and meanwhile you kill him like at level 8.
It was here, only a short time later, that Vol'jin would flee after threats from the new Horde war chief, Garrosh. When the Cataclysm exploded across the world, a result of Deathwing's escape from Deepholm, it caused massive flooding to Durotar's landscape, both from the sea and the South Fury River. The sea receded, leaving shipwreckage and water elementals in its wake, but the river turned a large section of Durotar into wetland, drastically changing the habitat.
God, man, that just does not
After
look
the
right.
cataclysm, Garrosh took the place of War Chief to allow Thrall to heal Azeroth's wounds. Under Garrosh's hand, Orgrimmar and the surrounding Durotar were outfitted with more defensive capabilities to prepare for his warmongering attitude. The war Garrosh fought with the Alliance led to the large-scale destruction of Theramore, and a retaliation, the second large assault on Durotar. Led by Varian Wrynn, the king sought to break the hold on Kalimdor's seas that Garrosh had established, and seek revenge for the victims of Theramore. Off the coast of Durotar, in the Bladefist Bay, a large naval war was fought. Garrosh used Dark Shaman to summon Kraken to his aid, but the Alliance assault was eventually successful. Garrosh's hold on the area only grew after that, employing his Kor'kron warriors to keep a tight rein on the settlements of Durotar and the Barrens. Eventually Thrall...
Dude, that's the Barrens? Oh, man, dude. That's the Cata Barrens right there. Right.
and Bane Bloodhoof of the Tauren assisted Vol'jin in a rebellion, retaking the Echo Isles and eventually all of Durotar from the Kor'kron. Garrosh locked himself in his fortified Orgrimmar and prepared for a siege. It took the combined efforts of the Alliance, the Horde rebelling under Vol'jin's banner, and Dalaran to assault the city and bring Garrosh to justice, culminating in a third grand invasion of Durotar. The might of Orgrimmar was broken, and a tenuous agreement between
This is Mr.
both the
Pandaria, right?
Horde and the Alliance placed Vol'jin in the seat of Warchief. Recently, Durotar has found itself struggling with the rapid depletion of its natural resources and a number of consistent threats across the land. New Orc adventurers wishing to prove their usefulness to the Horde begin their journey in the Valley of Trials. There they rout out small footholds of Northwatch humans, remnants of Admiral Proudmoore's assault, now under the command of the Core Alliance, and Burning Blade cultists, a cult connected to the Shadow
Yeah,
Council.
I love how this guy's still in there, dude. Yerog Bane Shadow. That's the guy from Vanilla, right? He's still there. Even in modern WoW, dude, he's still holding it down in the Valley of Trials. Angus Reed, NZ $2, dude. What class you rolling when classic drops?
Rolling when classic drops.
I think right now I'm leaning towards Hunter, man. It's either gonna be Hunter or Warlock. I love the pet classes. Either way, it can't go wrong. But a part of me will just always be a Hunter, man. I feel bad not playing Hunter. Taylor, hey Cargos, have you ever seen the story event for the Ashbringer in Hillsbrad? I've seen the story event for the Ashbringer in SM, not in Hillsbrad. That's interesting. You piqued my interest, man.
Loyal to the Burning Legion and seeking to undermine the Horde. Once proven in combat, the adventurers are sent off to assist the rest of Durotar, where they discover Sen'jin under assault by more of
Thanks
the
for $2,
Northwatch
Angus.
invaders.
Appreciate it, man.
Fresh Troll adventurers begin their journeys by assisting their kin on the Echo Isles, further establishing their base and routing out the constant Naga threat to the new Troll home.
Ooh, real quick, we got another donation as well, man, in Twitch. Thomas Dens, dude, with 100 biddies, dude. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, bro. You gave some biddies earlier, too, man. I really appreciate it, man. Message me in Discord. I'll give you a rank in Discord. Appreciate it, dude.
It is during these skirmishes that the Trolls uncover Zarjira, leading the Spite Scale Naga, the same sea witch that ambushed Thrall and the Darkspear Trolls on the Darkspear Isles and ordered a Murloc High Sorcerer to kill Vol'jin's father as a sacrifice to her. It is here that the Troll adventurers too prove their usefulness to the Horde by slaying Zarjira once and for all, and are sent out onto the mainland of Durotar, following in the footsteps
I don't know
of their
what
Orc
is going on
allies.
anymore. This is some
The
post-cata
adventurers
stuff.
assist the Horde all across
Let's
Durotar,
do one more.
facing Harp.
Let's do one more. I do want to know about Teldrassil. Red Ridge Mountains is pretty sweet. Elwyn Forest. I already know Elwyn Forest, I think. Let's do Teldrassil, man. Learn about some Night Elf lore.
Across Azeroth stand 4 known world trees. Of these, 3 have suffered great loss. Vordrassil and Grizzly Hills lie splintered,
Wow.
destroyed to keep it from the corruptions of the old god Yogg-Saron.
Oh, dude, I do kind of remember that
is
from
falling
Lich
to
King.
the
I gotta go
corruption
back
of
and
the
look at that
Emerald
again.
Knight suffered great
Look how
loss.
sweet that looks, man.
Vordrassil and Grizzly Hills lie splintered, destroyed to keep it from the
Dude, that is so cool. A huge splintered world tree? Oh, man.
corruptions of the old god Yogg-Saron. Shaladrassil and Val'sharah is falling to the corruption of the Emerald Nightmare, and Nordrassil, the first world tree, the true world tree, grown from the mother tree and standing tall atop Mount Hyjal. Through it, the Night Elves gained superior strength and vitality, an extension of the blessing given to the tree by the red dragon aspect Alexstrasza. They gained better ability to enter the Emerald Dream through the blessing given by the green aspect Ysera, and they gained immortality, a trait inherited by the Brawn aspect Nosdormu's blessing. These three blessings had long defined the Night Elves, and so when the eve of the Third War came and the Eredar Archimonde attacked Nordrassil, it was with great loss that Malfurion used the power of the tree to defeat Archimonde, an act that caused extensive damage to the tree itself. Though the tree has since regrown in the time following the Third War, the blessings it once held has been lost forever to the Night Elves.
Is this the thing that gave Night Elves immortality? I don't know if you guys know the significance of the trees. That's one thing I'm probably gonna look up after the stream's over. I want to understand what these different trees did, because he said that there's a bunch of them, right?
Druids were still able
that's so
to
cool
enter
that
the
there's
Emerald
some like
Dream,
really
many
powerful
Night
trees.
Elves abhorred the idea of losing their immortality. These Night Elves, headed by Fandral Staghelm, sought to create a new world tree, in the hopes that they would regain that immortality. Malfurion rebuked the idea, stating that growing a world tree for the sake of immortality would not lead to immortality. But when Malfurion became lost within the Emerald Dream in his fight against the Nightmare, Staghelm convinced the Circle of Ancients and Darkshore that it was time to rebuild. And so several of the Night Elves' most powerful druids began to grow and cultivate the new world tree, the tree known as Teldrassil.
Dude, that is sweet! This video is amazing. Yes, I think you're right, Multi. So that the Night Elf Starter Zone is a new world tree that they're trying to grow. And when you first spawn in as a Night Elf, I guess that big tree, it doesn't look that big though, but that's supposed to be Teldrassil. Oh, it is a world. Yeah, it is a world tree.
With Teldrassil now towering over the shores of Kalimdor, Staghelm approached Nosdormu, wishing the dragon's blessing for the new world tree. Nosdormu saw the selfishness and arrogance within Staghelm's request, however, and denied his blessing. Alexstrasza agreed with Nosdormu, and so Teldrassil received none of the blessings of the dragon aspects. Still, the Night Elves settled their civilization on the boughs of the great tree, and began to live peaceful lives, until a foul corruption began to seep through the tree. As the corruption grew, more and more of the Night Elves' resources were required to keep the evils at bay, until eventually Malfurion awoke from the dream and discovered that Teldrassil's corruption came from the old Night Elf, Xavius. Xavius had been Queen Ashara's High Counselor at the time of the War of the Ancients. He was killed, turned into the first satyr by Sargeras, and then consumed by a quickly grown tree at the hands of Malfurion. The tree consumed his body and energy, but his spirit lived on. He was able to convince Staghelm at the time of Teldrassil's birth to graft a part of his tree into the new world tree, so that his corruption would ensure the new world tree's failure. Malfurion was able to remove...
Wait, is this the world tree that they burned down recently in that new cinematic? It's gotta be, right? Skull Demon Cargo, what's up? Cargos, what's up, my dude? Love your videos, man. Yeah, appreciate. Thank you, Skull. I haven't seen you in the chat before, man. Welcome, welcome. The entire zone is the world tree.
So earned the blessing of Alexstrasza and later Ysera. Nosdormu's blessing, however, never came, leaving the Night Elves to their mortality. Following the Cataclysm and Malfurion's return, new heroes of the Night Elves begin to uncover returning corruption within the tree. The Gnarlpine Furbolgs have become more aggressive, and the Spiders of Shadowglen more hostile than before. The Dryad Tarandrella is concerned about the growing corruption, and eventually the hero is sent to investigate the rest of Teldrassil for the source, though not before retrieving a vial of water from Shadowglen's Moonwell. Outside Shadowglen, the hero finds Starbreeze village in ruins, overrun by invading Furbolgs. Garrulus hides in one of the houses, injured in an ambush. He is in charge of looking over the druids of Banithil Barroden, where they hibernate within the Emerald Dream. He warns that the Barroden may be in trouble, and the hero is sent at once to investigate the problem. The Barroden is found infested with Furbolgs, and shamans who have found a way to separate the spirit of one dreaming druid from his body. The Furbolgs are quickly routed and the druid's spirit put to rest, but with one village destroyed and the Barroden assaulted, the problem of the corruption becomes a high priority among the Night Elves of Teldrassil. Water is retrieved from several of the moonwells across Teldrassil, several satyr are discovered and dealt with, and the corruption affecting timberlings, spiders, and Furbolgs alike are studied. Eventually, Tarandrella re-emerges, having solved the mystery of the corruption. At the time of Alexstrasza's blessing upon the World Tree, it began to heal itself by pushing its deep-seated corruption to the surface. This new wave of evil was that corruption manifesting itself upon Teldrassil's surface. Using the waters collected at the Moonwells, Tarandrella empowers the hero with the strength of a loon, and the hero seeks out and destroys the source of the corruption.
Big shout out to you, my man. The positivity and enthusiasm you bring to your content is second to none. Keep up the great work, bro. Love all your video streams. Yo, thank you, man. What a nice thing to say, bro. That's really nice of you to say, man. Thanks a lot. I mean, I do love this game. We all love this game, right?
Once again, the World Tree is healed, and peace can hopefully
much
fall
love to all
the
you
Night
guys
Elves that call Teldrassil home. Much of the Night Elves' identity was lost when Nordrassil fell to the Legion.
Dude, what a little picture that is, man. Look how insanely sophisticated the Night Elf cities are. That is insane.
And the creation of a new World Tree to regain that identity was too selfish an act to grow a pure and healthy World Tree. But over the years since the Third War, Teldrassil has proved its resilience, and the Night Elves have chosen to settle atop its boughs anyway, eventually regaining some of the blessings lost to Nordrassil. In time, perhaps Nosdormu too will give the new World Tree his blessing of immortality, but until then, the Night Elves will continue to grow their powerful and ancient civilization.
They said the Night Elves settled upon its boughs? Are they, so they're in the tree? Darnassus isn't in the tree though, is it? There's no way. I don't know what they mean by that. Oh man, that was cool. I like that one. That Teldrassil video was cool, man. Hey Carlos, I got a question. Sorry for my bad English. By the way, I asked myself if it would be wise to implement a quest helper in Classic. To implement one, you want to use one? You're thinking about using one? If you haven't gone through the game before, I'd probably recommend it. In 2019, you know, everything, you know, you probably want it, man, because it can be pretty frustrating without a quest helper. I'd probably recommend it. Darnassus is in the tree? Dude, that's so cool. Is that why you have to take a teleporter to get out of it, because you're so high up? That is awesome. That huge city, Darnassus, with all the big stone structures, you're telling me that is in the tree. The entire zone is in the tree. Okay, that might be the coolest thing I learned from this entire stream. That might be the coolest thing I actually learned in this whole stream. The entire island is the tree? That is insane, man. Yo, Night Elves are actually kind of awesome, man. Night Elves are kind of cool. What's my favorite zone? Oh, man. Favorite zone? Favorite zone? It's hard to pick one, dude. It's really hard to pick one. Even though I'm a Horde player, though, one thing I will say is, even though I'm a Horde player, you know, Loktar Ogar forever, but I do like how comfy the Alliance zones are. Some of these Alliance zones are so comfy. Here, let me just put on this music for a minute. I'll just chill with you guys and talk for a minute. We're winding down here, but let me just put this on here. Chill out for a minute with you guys. Just turn this on. Yeah, if you guys have any questions from here, if you guys just want to, you know, shoot the shit for a minute, I'll stay on for a little bit. Oh, Bofet's in the house. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a minute. I really like the Alliance zones, though. They're so cozy, man. My 1 to 30, I prefer Alliance. The whole interplay between Westfall and Red Ridge and Elwyn and Duskwood and how they all tie in together, it's so cool to me. So cool. Let me put some on. My first WoW character was a Night Elf, fell down. Yeah. I want to make a warrior, but should I level a hunter first for gold? Harley, have you played vanilla before? Did you play back in the day? It depends. It depends on a lot of things, man. It depends if you can duo level. Depends if you have a guild that's going to support you. Just depends on your experience level with warrior. It's a little bit loud. It could be a good idea, man. Depends how fast you level and stuff, you know. Although, though, I have to say, though, Harley, I will say, is that there's not going to be Dire Maul on launch. So you're not going to be able to do tribute runs. You can still do Maradon runs, which are pretty good gold. It's, you know, maybe 55, 60 gold an hour. So you could definitely level Hunter first and be able to funnel gold. You'll be solo? Ooh, man, I probably would level a Hunter first. The chances of someone solo going through the game by themselves, leveling a warrior to 60, it's pretty low statistically, Harley. I might want to go Hunter first. Get to 60, understand the path. Yeah, I might go Hunter first, man. Which is funnier, Priest or Hunter? Funnier in what sense, man? They're both pretty funny. I mean, I like Viper's thing is pretty funny on a Hunter. There's some funny stuff you can do on a Hunter, but Priest being able to mind control is a great ability. Yeah, got to get that Whirlwind Axe. I mean, you just need some help as a warrior, man. If you're going through it solo, are we really going to recommend this guy to go solo through Classic WoW after not playing for a long time and go warrior? You'd get a pretty pure vanilla experience, but there's statistically you're probably going to burn out. Cargos, where would you suggest leveling at 31? I went through wetlands already. Yeah, you don't want to go to Stranglethorn too early. I go to Stranglethorn late 30s. I don't even do... With my style, I don't even go and do the initial quest in STV, like in the northern part of it. I'll go to STV as late as possible. You can go to if you're getting ganked a lot, Skull. You can go to Hillsbrad and just grind turtles there, or kill stuff along the coast. There's some good humanoids that are pretty good mob density, and it's pretty safe if you're Alliance, so you won't get ganked. 30s, you could also go to Shimmering Flats. That's a PvP nightmare zone though. That's a nightmare zone for PvP. Yeah. It's easy, bro. I did it as a 16-year-old noob solo warrior. Yeah, man, but you could have been that exception, Multi. I think statistically, someone that doesn't have a lot of vanilla experience going into the game solo, playing warrior, chances are they ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it. You got a 42 warrior on Light Soap, then got burnt out. But I could push through for Classic WoW. Alright, I believe in you, Harley. I believe in you, man. You can use this time, Harley, to do your research now. Plan out your weapon progression. That's a big thing, man. Planning out your weapon progression and make sure you're hamstring kiting. That right there will do a lot for you. And just know how to use sweeping strikes. Yeah, Desolus is a very underrated zone, right, guys? You guys like Desolus? I really like Desolus. Back when I played Vanilla way back in the day, I never really appreciated Desolus. I always thought it was like a very gray, dead zone with not a lot going on. It was so out of the way. It's actually not even that gray and dead. There's a lot of wildlife and wilderness in Desolus. There's a lot of really cool quests. They have some green areas, some purple areas. I like Desolus a lot. Kodo Graveyard, one of the coolest places in the whole World of Warcraft. I want to play Hunter Cargos, but I hate how useless the pet becomes in raiding. Nah, man, that's a big misconception, Kyle. You'll be able to use your pet in 95% of fights. You just got to know how. Your pet, even in full max gear, it's gonna be doing about 10% of your damage. So it's nothing to laugh at, man. If you buff it with scrolls and you get everybody to buff it and you make sure your pet's on point, your pet's your little buddy, man. I love Vanilla Desolus, yeah, man. Desolus was the first zone where Alliance started ignoring my warrior on North Dell. Love grinding there. Yeah, it's a nice zone. You prefer Fairless? All of the Night Elf forests are fantastic. Yeah. They did such a good job, man, creating such a unique aesthetic for all the races. You can instantly tell when something is a Night Elf area. You can instantly tell when something is an Orc area. They all have a unique color palette. They're all equally majestic in different ways. You think they will fix the 100 pet defensive issue? Yeah, you're saying like on the demo, right? The demo, the 100 pets felt very strange on the demo. It would just periodically stop attacking and it was very wonky. I think they'll fix that stuff. Grind SM until you can go to Tenorus. Depends on your class, man. SM's a lot of fun though. Yeah. If you're gonna grind a dungeon, SM is pretty quick and easy to do. If you're with friends or something, you just grind an SM over and over again. There's some fun items in there. I've done that before. I mean, how easily they can die from AoE. So the thing, Kyle, you'll see it in my hunter guide. This is one thing I didn't really know too much. But #1 thing with beast training your pet in vanilla, #1 most important factor of your pet is having the right resistances trained. You gotta have your resistances ideally capped out on your pet because you don't have any damage reduction on your pet in vanilla. And you gotta know when to pull your pet back, you know? Duskwood, Desolate, Shimming Flats, Badlands. Let me think about the zones that are the most underutilized by myself. These are zones that I want to explore more. I think Badlands is potentially one of them for me. These are zones that I need to like investigate a little bit more and find out the full breadth of quests in. Badlands for sure. What's another one? Ajara. I'm sure there's some way to make Ajara somewhat viable. You gotta look at the quests, and there's some good grinding spots in Ajara. Hey, what's up, Lion? You still up, man? Thinking about Shadow Priest? Yeah, Shadow Priest be a little bit stronger right off the bat, since there'll be 16 debuff slots right off the bat. You can probably get a slot in Molten Core. Dustswallow Marsh, yeah. If you guys haven't noticed, I like the swampy zones, man. I like the swampy kind of wet zones. This rain ambience right here, it's putting me to sleep right now. I'm feeling quite nice. Hinterlands, I made a whole video on the Hinterlands. I think Hinterlands is possibly the most beautiful zone to my personal taste. I think that kind of really woodland forest with the deep like mahogany wood, I love that, man. I absolutely love that. Like I live in California, right? And going to see the California redwoods, so beautiful to me, man. Even when I was down in Fort Jackson, I was kind of hating life because I was doing some training, but some of the big tall redwood trees and the wooded, oh man, I just go hunting and fishing and doing all that. Love it. Yeah, late night just got my charger on Voldemort server. Nice, man. Congrats, dude. Yeah, that Pallies are fun, man. Pallies have grown on me a lot. I don't know, some of you might have noticed, I leveled a Paladin recently on Voldemort. I really enjoyed it, man. I just, you feel so useful all the time. But the one thing that bugged me about leveling a Paladin, I gotta say, is just how kiteable you are, man. No on-demand slow when you're out in World PvP. You have to have swiftness potions if you're on a Paladin out in World PvP. If you guys are thinking about leveling a Paladin, make sure you have swiftness potions, man, because you can't slow people for shit. You need swiftness potions, and ideally you duo level. Because if there's not going to be sit procking during Real Classic, I would just go full AoE grinding spec, full reflect damage, you pick up Consecration, and I would level with a Druid. Kilgore, if you're still in here, remember we did that, man? You're giving me thorns. Yeah. If I were to make a character, not for raiding or PvP, but for gold grinding, what class would you recommend? It's got to be Mage or Hunter, hands down. Mage probably has the edge, though, over Hunter. But right off the bat, I don't know. I don't know. I think, okay, in an environment where there's no Dire Maul, there's no ZG to do croc farming or any of that type of stuff, Hunter's pretty good gold, man. Like, you're kind of the kings, right? As soon as you hit 60, you can go right into Maraudon. You don't need any gear. You can pretty much do it as any spec, and you're making 55, 60 gold an hour. That's not bad. I remember on Zethkar, I got my Epic Mount in like a day. I just literally did Maraudon, like, for dozens and dozens of hours and got it, like, immediately. Go Mage, Paladin, man. Horde can get another Thorns buff at CT in the Barrens. Oh, dude, from the Quillbore guy, when you turn into Blood Shard, is that what you're talking about, Kilgore? I'm glad you're still here, Kilgore. Remember when we did that? When you were playing Druid and I was playing Paladin? That was a lot of fun, man. We went to Dustswallow Marsh, and we were up top, like northwest of Dustswallow Marsh, killing those Murlocs, and dude, the thing why it's so good is because you get to use Seal of Wisdom and Judge Seal of Wisdom. So you're able to just focus on sustaining your mana so you can spam Consecration. So much fun. Do you think it'll be June or August? I have no idea, man. I think it'll be July, personally. Cargoes, you seen that one dude's video about Classic Dire Mall having way more mobs than private servers? No, man. If you can link it to me in Discord, I'll check it out. July. Does Paladin farm gold very well? Actually, they're pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how things are going to operate exactly in Real Classic, but Paladins have really grown on me, man. Like, I really, really enjoy the build with Paladin where you pick up Blessing of Sanctuary, and you can raid that way. There's going to be one slot in the raid for someone to buff Sanctuary, and you can kind of be this, like, do-it-all tank. I mean, do-it-all class. You can tank really well. You can heal pretty decently. You're not a pushover in PvP. That's the most appealing playstyle to me. That was so freaking fun. It was, man. It was kill. That was a blast. Hey, chat. I've never played Vanilla 60 content. I want to get some experience for a Retail Classic. What private server should I look at? Oh, I can't be talking about that, Josh. But go in the Discord, man. There's people to help you out in there. Hi, I saw you earlier today and loved it. Oh, I'm glad, man. Redman, you saw Good Morning Azeroth earlier? It was a lot of fun, right? I always love hanging out with the boys. Bloomsbury House, Cargo's Gaming. Hey, bro, first time in the stream. Been watching your speed leveling guides. Cool, man. Welcome, dude. Welcome, Blooms. Thanks for watching in Twitch. I got a really small Twitch still, so I appreciate you guys watching over there. How would Warlock Gold Farm work out? I'm not super well versed in Warlock Gold Farm, but you can do Maradon. I've seen videos of it. You need Invis pots for getting past some of the Methrodon packs, but other than that, you can do Maradon. You could probably partner up with a mage or something doing AoE grinding. Cargoes, you want people to watch on Twitch or YouTube? Doesn't matter to me, man. If you guys are just tuning in, I appreciate it. I really do. Whatever, man. Maybe a slight edge on Twitch because I'm trying to grow it, but I just, wherever, just watching it on anything, I appreciate it, guys. I'm sitting in Darnassus fishing on Elysium right now. Multi-on Cargoes. By the way, I really liked your vid about duo leveling. Never seen anyone else do a vid like that. Yeah, that's my favorite discovery from that video. I'm sure a lot of you have watched it already. But I love that balanced druid has some kind of sweet spot to perform in a tier 1 capacity. I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, believe that balanced druid tier 1 leveling speed in the right duo combination. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Proccing clear casting with being a melee druid. What kind of playstyle is that? That is so... Oh, man. Sitting there just meleeing stuff with your mace and then throwing on free heals whenever you get the clear casting proc. Throwing on Moonfire, Insect Swarm. Oh, yeah, go to Discord, Joshua. There's people in there to help you out. People help you out in there. I'm gonna pop in this leveling chat.
Oh.
You keep cutting out like crazy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi, how you doing?
We're still streaming right now, just saying hi. Hope you don't,
What's up, dude?
Hope you don't mind.
Yeah, we're just leveling.
Speaking of Discord, guys, you guys should join the Discord. We do have a small, tight community here in the Discord.
Yeah, we're just checking out your stream. Well, I was at least checking out your stream.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't usually stream at night, but I got the house to myself tonight. Just wanted to kick back.
Hell yeah, dude.
Learn a little bit about lore.
Yeah, dude, that lore stuff's good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
That guy makes good videos.
He does, yeah. I'd like to learn more about lore. I feel like it would help me appreciate the game more. Going into it the second time if I actually know what I'm doing. Like the story of it.
The lore gets hokey as shit after you get to past Cataclysm.
Yeah.
It's not the best stuff, but it's good. It's still good.
Swapped over to Twitch for you. Oh, thank you, Avisu. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we're almost at 1,800 followers on Twitch. It's starting to grow. Starting to get up there.
Nice.
Starting to get up there.
Wow, this guy took out the entire area. That sucks.
But yeah, we've been. Sorry, man. I was just gonna say we've been streaming for about 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I'll probably end it here. Kind of out of the blue stream for me, but thanks for keeping me company tonight. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Check out the Discord, and see you soon. Peace out.